3 open graves, 3 empty coffins, 3 bodies gone without a trace. That's what I walked into at 6:52 a.m. on a gray Monday morning, coffee still burning my tongue and sleep still pinching the corners of my eyes. I froze there, halfway through Section B, staring at the peeled grass and the clean cuts in the soil. My breath went shallow. My brain tried to catch up. This wasn't vandalism. This wasn't a prank. This was precise. And it happened in the one place I thought I could keep things still. People think being cemetery director makes you important. It doesn't. It means you unlock the front gate, track paperwork, and keep the place tidy so families don't feel worse than they already do. But to me, the job is more than that. I take care of the dead because the living never made sense to me. The dead stay where you put them. The living wander off. The living argue. The living expect things I don't know how to give. I miss my father's last hour, stuck behind an overturned semi on Route 8, and I've been trying to make up for that one failure ever since. The dead just lie there and let me do the one thing I'm good at: keep order. So when I saw those graves cut open, 3 of them that morning, neat as surgery, clean as a clipped page, I felt something hot and sour rise in my chest. Not fear, but shame. I walked to the first open hole. The grass had been sliced like a lid, smooth, even, no scuffs from boots or shovels. The dirt beneath was dark and soft, like it had been pushed up, not dug down. The coffin sat on 2 old boards, resting like someone had taken care not to scratch it. Miss Calloway's coffin, I recognized the medium finish and the cheap brass handles her son argued about. The lid was closed, latched. I opened it with a stiff click. Empty. I looked again, like I'd missed something. Nothing. Just smooth white satin, untouched except for the dent where her head once rested. I checked the next coffin, and the next. All empty. All clean. If someone stole bodies, they didn't rush. They didn't drag. They didn't spill one pinch of dirt they didn't mean to. They took their time when they knew what they were doing. I forced myself to breathe. My thoughts scattered like loose change in a dryer. I looked up at the old security camera on the pole by the fence. Of course, it was turned away. Not broken, not smashed, just angled a little too far to the left. 5 degrees, maybe 10. Enough to miss all of Section B. My chest clenched. I reached for my phone. "Luis," I said when he answered. "Come in, now." "It's Luis," I said again. 3 graves are open." He cursed and didn't argue after that. I hung up and I dialed the sheriff's office. "This is Daniel Price from Hillcrest Cemetery. We have 3 graves that were disturbed, coffins intact, but the bodies are missing." The dispatcher went quiet long enough that I wondered if the line had died. "We're sending someone right now," she said. I ended the call, set my phone down beside my coffee, and stared at the holes. They looked like open mouths, like they were waiting for something else to happen. I didn't see anyone else until Deputy Cole arrived, tall, stooped at the shoulders, with the tired face of a man who has heard every excuse in the world and still believes none of them. He stepped up beside me and let out a slow breath. "Al," he said, "have you touched anything?" "Just open them," I said. He inspected the ground. No tire tracks, no footprints. Crouched, brushing the cut grass. "This is clean work." "I know," I said. He looked at me. "You closed the gate last night?" "I did," I said. 6 o'clock, like always." "And nobody else was here?" he asked. "Not that I saw," I said. He wrote something in his little notebook. He wasn't accusing me of anything, but I felt accused anyway. "We'll pull the camera footage," he said. "It's been turned." "I see." he said. His jaw twitched, not anger, but confusion. He taped off the area, took photos, asked the same questions in different orders. Who has the keys? Who was last on the shift? Any disgruntled families? Any strange calls? I answered everything. My voice stayed steady. But when he left, saying, "We'll let you know," I realized my hands were shaking. Because I knew nothing would come of it. Nothing ever does when the dead go missing. People don't look for the dead the way they look for the living. But I do. That night I stayed late at the office. The fluorescent light buzzed like a trapped insect. My coffee had gone cold. I opened the files for the 3 missing bodies: Calloway, Hughes, Wynn. Inside Miss Calloway's folder was something I swear I had never seen. A photo, glossy, 4x6, taken from behind the funeral crowd, looking over their heads toward the open grave. You could see my back in the frame. On the back, in my handwriting, was Calloway, burial. I stared at the letters. I couldn't remember taking the photo. I couldn't remember writing on it. Nguyen's folder had one too, a strange sideways shot of him in his casket, like the photo had been taken from hip height. My handwriting again, on the back. Nguyen, viewing. I didn't know what to do with that. I just washed my hands in the little office bathroom until the skin went pink. There was dirt under my nails again. Cold, black cemetery dirt. I told myself it was from touching the coffins that morning, and I scrubbed harder. The next morning, a single red rose lay on the bare earth of Miss Calloway's empty plot. Not wilted, not wet, not crushed. I bent to pick it up. A thorn pricked my thumb. Blood rose in a sharp bead. Louise came up behind me. "Did you put that there?" "No." "Maybe the family?" "The gate was locked." "That's weird," he muttered. I didn't answer. At 9, a woman came into the office. She clutched her purse strap like it was holding her upright. "My mother is here," she said. "Margaret Calloway." I nodded. "I know the plot." She took a shaky breath. She said, I had a nightmare last night. She was knocking. Can you tell me that she's still here and that she's okay?" I should have told her the truth. I know that. But her eyes were raw, and I hated the idea of tearing open her grief again. "Yes," I heard myself say. "She's there. Everything's where it should be." She exhaled in relief. "Thank you. I needed to hear that." She left before I could change my mind. I felt sick for lying, but telling her the truth would have broken something in her that I wouldn't have known how to put back together. 2 days after that, I went looking for the spare keys. Not my keys, the master ring we keep in the maintenance shed. The shed smelled like oil and wet wood. The master set wasn't on the peg. I checked drawers, toolboxes, then I opened the old gray metal lockbox in the corner. Both key rings were inside. My master keys and my regular keys. But my regular keys were still clipped to my belt. These were copies, or twins, I don't know. Dirt crusted the edges of the metal. Cold, fine, black dirt. Burial dirt. In the bottom of the lockbox was a folded sheet of paper. I opened it with stiff fingers. 3 plot numbers, written in my handwriting. B13, B17, B19. The old grid system. The labels we used before we updated the grounds 12 years ago. My mouth went dry. I really tried to remember writing that note. I tried to remember touching those keys or putting them in the box, or even walking into that shed at all last week or before. Nothing. Just a soft, blank space where a memory should have been. Cole came back that afternoon. "We checked the camera," he said. "It cut out early and came back on late. No movement recorded." "So no one came in?" I asked. "Not that we can prove." He watched me for a moment. You doing okay? He asked. I'm tired, I said. That makes two of us, he responded. He looked out at the grounds. I've been doing this job for 12 years, he said. I've seen some strange crap, but this, he shook his head, this is different. Different how? I asked. I don't know, he said, hitching his belt. Feels deliberate. I didn't say anything. Try to sleep, he said. We'll keep digging. I almost laughed. Nobody was digging anything. Not anymore. The days after that blurred together. I walked the grounds over and over. I checked headstones twice, then 3 times. Some names felt familiar. Some felt like strangers. I avoided the families. I avoided my mirror. I washed my hands until my knuckles hurt. It never felt clean. Sometimes when I passed the empty plots, I left small things, a coin, a mint, scrap of ribbon from the fence line. Not as a ritual, more like an apology. Luis watched me sometimes. He didn't say anything. I didn't know what to say either. Sunday morning, before dawn, I came in early. The sky and the air were still dark and cold and silent. I walked with my hands in my pockets, moving by memory. The trees were black shapes against the fading night. The ground was firm under my boots. The 3 empty plots looked darker than the others, like holes that led down farther than I could think. I stood there, counted softly. 409 occupied, I whispered. 3 missing. I knew every person who rested here. Maybe not their lives, but their final places. Now there were 3 places I couldn't promise anything about. The sky lightened just a bit. Gray washed over the stones. For a moment, just like a breath, the 3 empty plots looked raised, as if the ground underneath them was swelling upward, like they were watching me. My pulse jumped, then the angle shifted, and they were normal again. I headed back toward the gate. I found Deputy Cole leaning against his car, warming his hands on a thermos. You're early, he said. I couldn't sleep. Yeah, he said, me either. He looked out at the rows of stones. Strangest damn case I've ever had, he said quietly. We checked local pawn shops, crematories, funeral supplies, nothing. Nobody selling bones or coffins, no cult stuff, no ransom, nothing. He sighed into his coffee. I don't like saying this, he said, but I don't know that we're ever going to figure it out. I nodded because I already knew. He glanced at me. Sorry, man, I know you take this place very seriously. It's all I take seriously, I said, before I thought better of it. He gave a soft, tired smile. Get some rest, Daniel. You keep this place in better shape than anyone else ever would. He got in his car and drove off. I watched his taillights disappear. Then I turned back to the cemetery, to the stones, to the 3 dark cuts in the ground that felt like they were carved into me. I used to think the dead needed me, that I was keeping them safe. They were the one part of life I couldn't mess up. Now I walk the grounds every morning not to take care of them, but to see which ones I failed overnight.